Welcome in to the Sports Dreaming Podcast. I'm Billy Bissell, going to be alongside Evan O'Brien, and we're talking about the 2024 NFL Draft. We got a couple good topics coming up, talking about obviously highly taught out quarterbacks. We got teams and their trade options, teams that we actually see potentially trading up, looking at potentially this could be the best quarterback draft class since 2020, and overall predictions on how the top 15 picks will actually go. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. Really excited. The whole buzz about the NFL draft for the past week has been huge, and been talking about it with a lot of my friends, in class, outside of class, no matter what. It just kind of seems like the hot topic right now, and it's been long awaited. So really excited for the draft.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a football guy, but the Giants have been struggling, and we need a wide receiver. It's going to be tough. We'll talk about that later on. But first things first, we're going to talk about the loaded QB class that we have here in 2024.
Yeah.
And I believe we're going to go through the top 10. I personally don't have top 10, but we're going to go through yours and see what your opinion is.
Yeah, so this quarterback class, it looks on paper really, really good. Just all the hype coming into it from college and from these guys playing in big games. It just seems like we're going to have a really fun class of guys who really have a lot of potential NFL talent. So starting, we got 10 guys right now that we can see going at some point in this draft. And for my number one QB.
Go to 10.
You want me to go through? Do you want to start with 10? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll start with 10. Okay. We'll count it down then. So I have Michael Pratt as number 10 from Tulane. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about him. I'll be fully honest, don't know a lot about him. And I can kind of leave it at that. Michael Pratt, in terms of aura from name, doesn't have a lot of aura. Michael Pratt does not scream to me NFL caliber quarterback. I apologize, Michael. I feel like a guy even like Spencer Rattler or J.J McCarthy, those are real quarterback names. Those are real QB1 NFL names. And I'm not familiar with your game, Pratt, but just off of that aura alone, I got to put you at number 10 behind everyone else.
One thing I know about Pratt is I've heard him as a sneaky person. In this quarterback draft class, he's not going to be the worst, but right now you do. You have him at 10, but hey, he's going to prove you wrong.
I hope he does. No, and that's the thing. I don't want to try and prey on anyone's downfall, but out of all these guys, because it's a loaded class, out of all these guys, I think he is the worst one coming into the NFL. Moving on to number 9, Jordan Travis. I think now this guy I know a little bit about. Obviously, he absolutely snapped his leg in one of the games during college football that actually almost cost him his entire career. Never mind just the season, but was an absolutely brutal injury. And he was a good player, really, really good player. I just feel like it's a little early for him right now. I think that given another year's time playing in Florida State, recover from that leg injury, I think he could really be a highly, he could be up there in the top 10 next year's draft. He looks really, really good, really athletic. And I'm excited to see how well Florida State can actually do with him, because it's a completely different team after he was gone. I think they did manage to win a few more games, but he was the backbone of Florida State, and I think he's still got a little more room to grow. That's why he's down at 9 right now. I don't really see him as entering as an NFL quarterback right now, but I like him a lot.
First off, Roll Tide. FSU, sorry about not making the playoffs, but hey, 12-team playoff next year. It's going to be nice. Sucks that his injury, because I think he might have been up there, right over Jayden Daniels as a Heisman. But as right now, once he recovers and gets back into shape, hopefully he has a tremendous NFL career.
Absolutely. And we only hope for the best for him. I want to see him really succeed. So hopefully he recovers from that injury and he's back to playing like himself. Number 8, Spencer Rattler, guy from South Carolina, transferred from Oklahoma. He's got some arm talent. I remember coming out of high school, I think he was actually the number 1 ranked quarterback going into college, I believe. And he was going to be like a top 5 pick, I remember. That was his projection. It didn't work out that way. He got hurt. He only played a few games his first year. Didn't really do too well in Oklahoma, and then eventually would transfer to South Carolina for the last 2 years. And then he played pretty well. He had, I'm looking at his stats right now, over 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, threw 8 interceptions at a QBR of 66. So he finished out strong, 147.7 rating. So he finished the season out in his college career strong. He's definitely got some arm talent. I've seen him throw the football. It looks really solid. I'm worried that kind of that big hype really just died down afterward. I haven't heard too much about him. Haven't really seen his name really come off the board in the first, definitely not the first round, maybe in the second round, but, he definitely has some arm talent. The arm talent is definitely there. I've seen a lot of good clips of him throwing the deep ball down the sideline. So I think Spencer Rattler is definitely a very talented quarterback. I just don't really see him as one of the top echelon guys in this draft.
Yeah, South Carolina Gamecock. I don't know. Bama just beats up on them. He hasn't really been there, as per se, as the games I've seen him play. But I have no clue. He's up there with Pratt, man. I have no clue about your game, man. Sorry.
Yeah, he was really good coming out of high school, and he was really. It looked like he actually could have changed Oklahoma, actually, but. Things really just didn't pan out for him in the beginning. I'm glad he actually transferred and found some good success as a Gamecock. But moving on to 7, I have Joe Milton III. Now, this guy is a freak. 6'5", 235. Just physicals alone, he's a monster. Only threw for 2,000 yards. Did have 20 touchdowns, though. 70.4 QBR. And this was his really first full year at quarterback where he really just got the reins. And statistically, he probably doesn't match up with a lot of these other guys, but I think this is just overall eye test and talent. I believe he threw the hardest ball out of any quarterback in the NFL Combine. That alone tells me a lot. And I saw some of his passes in the Combine, just absolute nukes from midfield down the sideline to hitting his receivers in stride. I think he had a clip that kind of went viral at the NFL Combine where he kind of did a Steph Curry-esque throw where he threw the ball and just turned away, didn't even look like it, and dropped it right in the bucket. So the kid's definitely got some aura. I love using the word aura. The kid's got some aura. I love Joe Milton III. I think he's going to be really good. And my friends actually kind of put me onto the bandwagon, so I'm excited about Joe Milton. He is really talented. The arm is definitely there.
I don't know much about Milton at all.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, not a lot of people know about him, but one of my friends kind of told me about him, and then I kind of saw some of the stuff that was going around on social media, and he writes it home for me. Number 6.
Yeah, hopefully I can find that clip,
go ahead.
and I'll insert that into this video.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if I do that.
That'd be pretty good editing right there. Number 6, I have Michael Penix Jr. Now, another guy, you want to talk about arm talent, he's got arm talent. He, throws from the left side, anything from the left side always looks a little prettier. I can't even lie. Michael Penix has a rocket for arm. His deep ball accuracy, just from watching him from the games leading up to the championship game, he just airs it out. He had well over 4,000 passing yards, led Washington to an undefeated season. He's an elite quarterback, and he's someone that's probably going to be taken in the early second round. It could even be late first. I like him in the late first, to be honest. He's just a lot of talent. His major gripe that I've seen a lot of people talk about is when there's pressure in his face, he tends to fold. He tends to not really take the pressure well. And I mean, as the most quarterbacks do, obviously. But he's a lot more noticeable where he kind of just freezes up. And he might take a sack where he could make a play, but he's not a guy like Jayden Daniels who's able to make a play and scramble out the pocket when things get hectic. So Michael Penix, big, talented arm, with a lot of accuracy downfield. It also helps when you get one of the best receivers in the class, Romo Dunze, outside, but really good quarterback that I like a lot.
Yeah, his arm talent's there. He needs to develop something around the pocket to hopefully make plays and move his feet around to get the first down, but when it comes to getting someone the ball, perfect spot, perfect spiral, he has that talent for sure.
He threw 4,903 yards, had 36 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 84.1 QBR. That ranks 6th amongst the registered college quarterbacks. A lot of good stuff from him. Now, top 5. I got Bo Nix at number 5, kid out of Oregon, the super senior, even though actually I think Michael Penix played more years than, was in college at least for more years than Bo Nix, which is shocking because I feel like Bo Nix has been playing for at least 10. Bo Nix, listen, that offense was a lot of short pass stuff. You couldn't really see how good his arm was, but there are instances where you definitely saw it. Now, he still, I think, threw for well over 4,000 yards as well. So even though their offense didn't really allow him to completely air it out and just kind of free willy-nilly like Drake Maye and his offense, he can still do it. And if there's a throw, and if you want to look for a throw to see if Bo Nix can make it, the film is definitely there. He's been playing and been starting at Oregon for 5 years. So if you want to look for film, it's going to be there. He's proven himself enough to be definitely a top quarterback in this league, or at least a startable quarterback. I think he's earned that right. And, I was a little hesitant on him at first. I saw his performance in the Senior Bowl. It wasn't really that great, but I think he could be. The film is going to be there. He looked really accurate. He's got tenure. He's a grown man. We're talking about grown man strength. Bo Nix definitely has that. So Bo Nix, top 5 quarterback in this draft.
I feel like having Bo Nix in the conversation around a couple years or so, he has been Oregon's guy. He has been slightly compared to Mariota in his days at Oregon, but if I had to make my own list, I might take Penix over Nix in this situation.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that. I feel like I'm not mad at that. I see that a lot. But I just want to clarify, actually, he didn't play all 5 years at Oregon. He actually beat 3 at Auburn and 2 and then Oregon. But this following past year, he threw for 4,500 yards, 45 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, 91.2 QBR, which was 2nd amongst all the quarterbacks. Kicking ball. Kid can play. I mean, no question, especially in the college level. So, yeah. Bo Nix for me is 5.
Yeah, rip the Pac-12 though, man.
Hey, man, R.I.P. Seriously, it's gonna be really interesting next season to see what that's like. Number 4, J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, he's a winner. Like we if there's one thing that we know, he's a winner. I think I saw one of those Instagram posts that showed, I think they showed something for Trevor Lawrence and how little he's actually lost in his football career. J.J. McCarthy is one of those guys who just never lost. I think he has maybe 3 total losses or 2 or 3 total losses in as long as he's been playing competitive football. He just doesn't lose. Wherever he goes, they win. And he looks really good. Like he obviously led a national championship team, led a team to the national championship, and they won. Now, did he have a really good team alongside him? Absolutely. We know this, but the quarterback still is the leader. The buck stops at QB. And if you can, so you can't just take that away from him. He knows how to win. I've heard a lot of good things about him. This pro day obviously looked really, really good. I don't want to base everything on the pro day, obviously, but J.J. McCarthy looks really good. He could be a really good prospect. I know a lot of teams are looking to maybe trade up for him. We'll talk about that later, but J.J. McCarthy is my 4th best quarterback.
Yeah, as while Ohio State has been on the downfall, Michigan has been on top, and it's been just J.J. McCarthy's show, man. He's been tearing it up in the Big Ten, and we just got to see soon where he lands up and where city he's going to tear it up then. Absolutely, and
one of my best friends is from Ohio State, and he hates it. He absolutely hates how much Michigan has just been on top for Ohio State, because that rivalry is huge. That is a big time. They don't even say the word Michigan. They just say Ishigan. They're playing Ishigan. They don't even say M. So, yeah J.J. McCarthy.
Better take out the in the Ohio State.
Right.
The Ohio State.
Right. Number 3, Jayden Daniels for me. Now, I think Jayden Daniels' draft position could be up in the air. In my mock, yeah, I kind of have him in the normal spot where he seems to be going. But Jayden Daniels, he could fall. He really could, but the kid looks good. I mean, he has a lot of great tools. The running ability is incredible. He can still pass from the pocket and outside the pocket. He's a versatile athlete that is just a guy who will make plays for you. I don't see him as well as Maye and Williams, but as of late, I've been kind of going back and forth on, is he actually really like that? I think he actually is really like that. So Jayden Daniels is my number 3 quarterback in this draft. I like him. I do like him. The rushing ability is so there. I've heard he's better a passer than Lamar was out of college, even though I think Lamar was a very good passer at Louisville in college. But Jayden Daniels, he looks like a really, really good runner and just a great dual threat. Any offense would be, would love to have him on their team leading the helm.
Yeah, I have no problem with Jayden Daniels at 3. Just besides really the LSU offense as a whole wasn't there, especially with their defense, but he has ripped the ball plenty alongside Neighbors, right? With Neighbors, future Giant. Hopefully.
We'll see. And Brian Thomas, too, was also the other receiver there who was a stud, who was really good wide receiver. So he had weapons. And that a lot of people tend to kind of take that away from the quarterback, which makes sense. If you have really good receivers, it could cover up from some of your mistakes. But he definitely he lived up to it. So now for my second ranked quarterback in the draft, I got Drake Maye. Drake Maye, I think, is a guy who just has a lot of good upside. And he might not be able to start right away. But the arm talent is there, man. He was a part of a UNC offense that kind of let him just flow around and just try and make these acrobatic plays and just win the game. And he actually, he did the best he could with that given situation. Now, that's definitely not the best situation for any type of quarterback, any college quarterback. But he did his best, man, and he looked really good. The throws that I've seen him make are almost Mahomes level, man. Like it's insane. I'm definitely not comparing him to Mahomes, but in terms of the throws and the off-platform plays, extending out the pocket, even scrambling a little bit, he's got it. Drake Maye has got it, and I like this kid a lot. I honestly, in any other draft, I would have him going number 1, but. We have another quarterback in this class who's definitely taking that. But Drake Maye is really, really good. And I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback in the next few years.
Yeah, Drake Maye, he did his job, man. He did his job at UNC. It's not a prestigious program as LSU, Michigan, all these other ones that are getting picked up by good quarterbacks. But he did his job. Nothing more as you could expect. And it just has to translate well in the NFL. It's going to be a tough situation for him.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens. I hope he could be able to play behind a quarterback for like a year. Because I think that's the best thing for any quarterback. I don't care who you are. But this next guy, he might be able to go in day 1. Not might. I'm pretty sure he will be able to go in day 1 and make a name for himself. Caleb Williams is my number 1 ranked quarterback in this class. We all know it. He's a stud. He can make any throw outside the pocket and just continue to extend plays. USC's O-line was terrible last year. He was left out there to die almost every single week. And he still made it happen. He was making insane throws. Some clips that I've seen him make of him scrambling out to his right full speed, throwing on the dime across his body on the sideline in a perfect spot only his receiver can get to him. It's insane. Caleb Williams looks extremely good. He looks, he's still got a little bit of raw talent. He's going to make mistakes. So does every rookie quarterback. Caleb Williams is for sure the number 1 pick in this draft and the best quarterback in this draft without a doubt. Kid's going to be a stud.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback in the draft, but it's going to be tough. Right now, he's projected to be a Bear. There's been all sorts of stuff with him not really wanting to be there. Is this going to be like an Eli Manning type of situation where he just switches the team? But it's not going to be pretty right out the gates for him first 2 years probably, but he'll get it done. He'll stay there. But once they develop around him, he's going to be that guy for the Chicago Bears.
I will be shocked if we have an Eli Manning situation where he doesn't want to play for the team and he forces his way out of the Bears. Because I feel like the Bears haven't done a bad job putting people around. They brought in Keenan Allen, DJ Moore from last year. They got help there, and I think in this draft, if they can try and draft another O-lineman, even more help, or even another receiver, I think Caleb Williams is going to stay. And I don't know. Like, all the outside noise to me is really meaningless. I really, unless it's something so severe, and I haven't just seen that yet, I really think that the outside off the field, quote unquote, antics don't mean a thing. The kid wants to play ball, and he's going to ball out doing it. So those are the top 10. Those are my top 10 rankings going into this year's NFL draft. So there you go. Big one.